There we go. Hello. Whoa, there's a lot. I guess we shouldn't be looking right into the light. Hi there! This is the Angry GM. Sorry about the glare. Hey, just a quick thing, a little like stuff I don't hate thing, because I got something in the mail today. It's from a company called Buttonshy Games that started following me on Twitter the other day, and I discovered, whenever somebody follows me on Twitter, the first thing I do is I look back at their feed and try to decide whether or not to follow them back, and then if they've got like a link to a blog or something, I actually kind of check it out. And Buttonshy Games, they make these little party games and card games, all sorts of little, I guess, micro games is the term. I'm not one of the board gaming nerds, and I don't know my worker placements from my Ameritrash, so it's not a thing for me. But while I was checking out their website, they had this cool thing. They have these cool Storyteller cards, and as a GM, I'm always looking for any sort of creativity tool, anything to help sort of come up with new ideas. And I've talked on my website, theangrygm.com, as if any of you don't know. I've talked on my website about how important it is to be able to generate ideas on the fly so that you can come up with shit on a deadline. And that's super important. So anything that gives you new ideas is great. Anything that provides seeds for ideas. So I ordered a set and they came. So these are the Storyteller cards. There's a little bit of glare because I haven't actually unwrapped them yet. We're going to unwrap them right now and check them out. These are the fantasy set. They have a couple of different sets available. I'm going to try not to stab myself on live on the internet here. Though I totally would, because I love Ollie and I would take the hit for you. So it's basically the same size as a set of standard playing cards, and there are 52 cards in the deck, and already okay. So I haven't actually seen any of these yet. Is it reversed, or is that just me? Actually, let me see if I can do something a little bit better with the lighting here. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, okay, that's a little bit better. And tilt this down a little bit here. That's a little bit better. Okay, so we can see the cards here, and according to the description on the card, each card features a unique combination of fantasy elements, a race, which is depicted in the middle there. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at here. I guess that's some kind of undead or flesh golem or some kind of undead thing. And so we got a race, a class, which I guess is necromancer, maybe, or barbarian. This is a flesh golem necromancer, I think. Yeah, that's a flesh golem necromancer, and clearly a poorly constructed flesh golem, because there are bits that are clearly not flesh. Because you can see the skeleton here, which not flesh. That's actually more the purview of a bone golem. So I don't want to criticize the product right away, right out of the box, but it's not a flesh golem. And the sad thing is, like, this necromancer really fucked up, because the skeleton's not actually doing anything, just kind of hanging off there. And the magic that was used to construct the golem obviously has to hold the skeleton together, because if you just pick up a skeleton that has no connective tissue left, it just falls apart. So there is clearly a lot of magic going into holding that skeleton intact, and it's just kind of strapped to the guy's shoulder. Unless he's it's a fireman carry situation where the flesh golem is rescuing a skeleton from a situation, in which case this necromancer, whoever created this flesh golem, actually has really poor inhuman resources department, because really risking a flesh golem to rescue a skeleton is really poor use of resources. I'm just saying, logistically speaking, this necromancer is not a good necromancer. And I actually, now that we think about it, you know, the idea of an incompetent necromancer whose creations are all sort of kind of like, imagine a necromantic Island of Dr. Moreau situation where like the necromancer was animating all sorts of shit, but he was really bad at it. And so it was all like sort of ineffectual and horrible and hideous at the same time. That would actually be pretty cool. So already, I guess these storyteller cards are kind of doing their job, aren't they? So supposedly there's a weapon on here. I do not see weapons. I guess we shouldn't be looking at the Joker card, but and I, you know what, let's move to a different card. I think we've talked. Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna pull one out at random here. Oh, okay. So first of all, the backs of the cards have this little storyteller symbol on it. Ooh, it's a whoops. I'm clumsy as hell. It's a book with colors. Yep, clearly colorful. And the cards they're good quality. They're basically playing card quality. They're slick. They don't have like that playing card finish that keeps them from slipping around. So they really do just slide all over each other. But then you're not going to be playing Texas Hold'em with them anyway. So let's grab a random card here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I guess 7 of diamonds. Here we go. There's a little bit more, we can see actually the features of each card. So we have a race there. She is clearly, no, she is clearly, I guess she's human. She's probably human. By default, she's human. So, yeah, you know, because, you know, it's, none of the above is human. And class-wise, she is probably a rogue. Weapon, there is a weapon on the card, which is a whip. And there is an item on the card, which is a sack. Filled with, you can see, I don't know if you can make it out, but there's a little gem coming out of the sack. So it's a gem-filled sack. There is an action. She is skulking or lurking or sneaking. Those are all good words for a rogue. And then there is a location, which in this case is child's bedroom, which is an interesting way to go with just about any story that you might develop for D&D. You know, when you have a female rogue with a whip skulking in child's bedroom, I'm sure you can come up with a lot of interesting stories for that. Now, what's interesting is that the cards also do have a rank and a suit. So this is the 7 of diamonds. So if you wanted to play poker with storyteller cards, maybe even make your own like advanced sort of complicated D&D poker where, okay, I have a straight flush, rogues over barbarians, you know, diamond high or some shit like that. I honestly don't know how poker works, apparently. I understand that poker is a lot like Yu-Gi-Oh, except all of the cards are in face-down defense mode, and it's a lot less complicated. So we have a rank and suit. There is a coin. Sure enough, I'm not sure why a coin is a feature that is touted on the back of the box. But yeah, there is a coin, and certainly that's a coin. You know, no denying that. There is a die roll, a d20 roll, actually. So if you drew this card, you rolled a 9. And then there is a combat resolution symbol, it says, which, neat, I guess that is parried. Let's take a look at a couple of the other cards. Okay, let's look at the 7 of spades. So, again, I'm thinking human. You know, the race thing, with the cartoony graphics, cartoony art style, kind of hard to tell for sure. Class, well, that's a spear strapped to him, but he's not wearing any armor, so, you know, robes, presumably sorcerer, because sorcerers, at least in 3.5, they had proficiency with spears, right? He has a weapon, which we mentioned the spear, excellent, and item, which is a feather, a pink and green feather, from some sort of a ostentatious rock or some other giant flying bird. Action is climbing, and location is outside of tower. Which, it's a good thing that the action was climbing, because if the action was, like, you know, reclining outside of tower, quickly gravity would take hold and then it would be falling. So, really, when you're on outside of tower, there's only two actions possible, climbing and falling. Or flying, I suppose, which brings up the fact that that feather might be a Qual's Feather token, which was a magical item that could turn into various useful tools. Including, I believe, wings or some sort of flying creature. I don't remember how Qual's Feather... Who can remember all this shit? Do you know how many thousands of magical items there have been in D&D? And all of the, like, nobody gives a shit about any of them except the weapons and the armor, okay? Every time you give your party some sort of cool magical item, like, hey, you know what? Here's an alchemy jug, which was, like, one of my favorite magical items. Because you always, as a GM, you give your party these really cool items, and you think, what are they going to do with it? And I know what they're going to do with it. They're going to hawk it, and they're going to sell it for healing potions, or they're going to turn it into a magic weapon or a magic suit of armor or whatever. That's what they're going to do with it, because they don't give a shit. They're not going to try and find a clever solution for a problem that involves a jug that pours endless mayonnaise. And by the way, mayonnaise, 5th edition, alchemy jug, bullshit. Sorry. It was much cooler when it poured Aqua Regia, even though nobody knows what Aqua Regia is, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the most corrosive acids known to medieval science. I'd have to look it up, though. Anyway, but I digress. Basically, you know, climbing tower, spear, and then we have a coin. Oh, the coin is different. That coin has, like, an imperial... head guy, like an imperial head, and we can see this is the 7 of spades and parry and a 2. So these are actually kind of neat, and you know, the art on the cards. Okay, here we have a different race now. Now we have a dwarf. The action is clearly stealing. The location is museum. And the weapon is some sort of a magical crystal staff, and because it's crystal, that obviously means it's a psionic staff, which means no place in my game. Here we have a really happy guy who is being happy with a shovel and a crossbow. Okay. Oh, shovel is item and crossbow is the weapon. Fine and dandy. And the combat resolution item is scroll, which clearly indicates that he is going to read or recite something, which identifies him as a bard, so fuck that. I don't even know what race that is supposed to be. Is that some sort of goblin noble person, maybe? Ferengi, maybe? Could be Ferengi or a half Ferengi, half Romulan. And the location appears to be... some kind of... Because if you look out the windows, you can see sort of a forest situation. So she is in a circular room, so she is in her little forest tower. So maybe, yeah, I'm thinking somebody commented that she's a gnome, in which case that card can get pulled out. And I sure am running out of cards that I can use for my game, huh? This guy, also clearly a gnome based on nose size, so forget that. Queen of Spades, see, now this just illustrates what I was already saying. Here we have the repeat location. So already we've started to repeat locations outside of tower. And this demonstrates the only other possible action outside of tower. Falling. Clearly she is trying to remember how to cast Featherfall, which she did not prepare today. And she is desperately trying to remember how her reading speed in words per second compares to the gravitational acceleration of 32 feet per second per second. She's a wizard. She can probably do that, right? But she has a toolkit. That's interesting. So she is a rogue. Okay, clearly an arcane trickster. But Mike Merles recently indicated that... No. Jeremy revealed that Mike Merles was wrong and that arcane tricksters do not use spellbooks, so this card is inconsistent. Here we have a barbarian using a spyglass while flying over a city at a speed based on the streaking in the background, approaching the speed of light. So that violates relativity. Barbarians don't fly, and spyglasses don't exist. Excellent. So I'm actually kind of disappointed now in this product because, you know, a lot of these cards are just not useful for my particular style of game, which just does not tolerate ridiculousness like, this shaved head halfling lyrist. Yeah, that's a leer in the back. With a... Is that a double sword? Okay, I gotta look at this. Hold on. Yeah, okay. So that is a sword hilt with a single handle, and two swords are coming out of it. I cannot imagine what sort of, well, you know, actually I do understand it. I do this this is a blacksmith who could have worked for like Gillette or Schick or one of the other razor companies, which are just like obsessed with putting more and more razors on a single handle, like that somehow improves the quality. So this is the guy who, like, this is like Bronwyn Schick, the dwarf forerunner of the Schick family. You know, thousands of years when Middle Earth gives way to Earth, he will be inventing like the 5 razor blade. Yeah. Okay. Now here, clearly we have a necromancer because she is wearing the requisite skull amulet, which, quite frankly, necromancers could probably get a lot more work done if they didn't identify themselves so readily. She also has some sort of a magic lantern, which you can tell from the green fire. And why is it always green with them? It's always either green or purple. Like, those are the disease colors, green and purple. You know, you never have a disease that's like mauve. But whatever. Oh, and the combat action is block, and she has a bow. So clearly she has given up on relying on necromancy, or, you know what, maybe she's strapped for bodies and she is going out looking for bodies, and she's, the bow is there to defend her from people who are curious as to what her nocturnal excursion into the graveyard actually is. Is she an elf? Yeah, she's got ears. That's the universal symbol for elf, by the way. As you can see, their ears poking out of their hair. That's how we say elf. Could be a half elf because oh no, now you can see the other ears sticking out there. So that she's got 2 ears. She's a full-blooded elf. Here we have an interesting one. I'm not sure what to make of this guy. The 5 of diamonds is some sort of a warrior or monk, and he is... Well, the weapon that he's carrying is kind of sort of concealed behind him, but oh no, I see it now. So it looks like a wireframe axe, which I'm not sure how effective that would be, but sure, whatever. And the item on this is purple chicken, which... Oh, okay. So what he is trying to do is he is trying to complete the Goron quest so that he can get a 2-handed greatsword to replace his wireframe axe because it was not fully rendered. So he is on the 2nd stage of the trading quest, I believe, where he has to bring the blue cuckoo back to the cuckoo woman. And at that point, I think she will give him the medicine that will rot away in 30 seconds unless you bring it to Lake Hylia, and you are not allowed to use your teleportation magic in the one situation where your teleportation magic actually would have been useful. Yeah, so let's... Okay, there is definitely a necromancer focus here. Clearly we have yet another person. He is pulling a... Oh, no, you know what? No, see, I'm just seeing necromancers everywhere. I clearly have the problem. I'm sort of necromancer philiac, which means I don't want to have sex with the dead, but apparently I see necromancers everywhere. But again, you know, he's got the spikes and the purple, and there is a skull. So clearly he is a necromancer also. And so there are a lot of necromancers in here. But he is pulling a boat out. It looks like he's pulling a boat out of the water. I'm not sure I see the weapon on this. Unless he is going to headbutt someone with his pineapple hat. Whatever. You know, he's pulling a boat out of the water, and this person. Oh, you know what? So this person heard a noise outside his little fisherman's hut. And he opened the door and realized that someone is stealing his boat. And then he realized that it is some sort of goblin necromancer. And while he's pretty sure he can take a goblin, he's heard bad things about necromancers. And so he's really weighing in his head whether he even wants to get involved in this situation or just put in an insurance claim later. The boat probably isn't worth a whole lot, so depending on his policy and his deductible, he might not get anything for it. But, that's the sort of story inspiration these cards will give you. Here is a dwarf at a forge engaged in the most noted of the dwarven smith's many tasks of nailing a hoop to a barrel with the that's like the goddamn hammer of Moradin, right? That's the hammer of dwarven lords or whatever it is. I mean, look at that hammer. That is a hammer that was clearly designed for better things than hammering nails into a barrel. So clearly the story here is that, like, the world's most boring dwarven smith accidentally stumbled on a artifact of godly power, and now the poor artifact of godly power, because they are all imbued with intelligence, basically has to sit there every day trapped in this hammer, realizing that all it is doing is making barrels and occasionally nailing a shoe to a horse. You could actually have a whole quest along these lines of, imagine if, like, the heroes go into the Dwarven Forge to get armor repaired. And he's like, oh, I don't do that. I'm just a barrel-making kind of dwarf, the best dwarf there is. And then they hear the voice coming from the hammer. It's like, help me! And the Dwarven Barbarian now has to decide whether or not, he really should murder this poor Cooper, which, fun fact, call it a bonus word of the week, is what a person who makes barrels is. They are a Cooper. So anyway, so this poor Dwarven Cooper has this magical artifact, and of course, the irony is, as soon as the Dwarven Barbarian murders the Dwarven Smith to steal the hammer of Moradin, he has proven himself unworthy of wielding the hammer. So now the hammer has even more to deal with in its life, because it has been rescued from a Dwarven Smith of absolutely no repute by a Dwarven Barbarian who does not even deserve to be called a dwarf. So this hammer's existence, and I will remind you, it is an artifact, so it's practically indestructible and it will live forever, is hitting rock bottom and has started digging. And because it's a Dwarven artifact, it can still go a long way down. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, I'm not sure what the hell is happening here. So here is a woman who is clearly, I'm guessing elf again. She's got, like, she's a World of Warcraft elf, because those ears are like what is it with World of Warcraft and the ears that, like, go out to here? Like the bunny elves. But whatever. Okay, so she is clearly an elf. She is clearly an elf dressed in her Sunday best. And she is a shepherd, I'm guessing, because of the sheep, and that she's in a pasture. And she has a lucerne hammer, I believe, which is a pole weapon that has a hammer on one end and a spike, basically a spiked prong on the other end, which was excellent for bashing through armor or hooking up on a horse. You would catch a knight on horseback in the hooked pick part, and then yank them down off their horse, and then bash them repeatedly with the hammer, because you would just pound through their armor. So clearly she failed shepherding school very badly. Either that, or the wolves have actually adopted the code of chivalry, and I presume they are riding other, more feral wolves. So you have wolf riding, maybe werewolves. Okay, so wolf riding werewolves in armor have been stealing this woman's sheep. And she has given up on the whole, fife and shepherd's crook life, and has decided to take matters into her own hands with a lucerne hammer that is not going to do her any good, because it is not silver. So this story has a tragic end. A couple others. Okay, what is with that hairdo? Okay, I don't want to be the one who points out the anachronisms here, but that's a pompadour, right? I mean, I don't know hair that well, but that is a pompadour. And so this dark-skinned elf again, because of the ears, and definitely he's got the bone structure and the chin structure of it. Who is... See, I want to say he's a he's dressed as a rogue, but he has a shield, and he also doesn't have a weapon. So he is, I'm guessing, some sort of Captain America type rogue, especially, but evil. This is like evil medieval Captain, America, and because you can tell by the look on his face, that is a sinister look. He is up to something. Okay, and again, based on the action that we see in this picture, he is again lurking. And he is lurking in some sort of ancient ruin. Yeah, so make of that what you will. So here we go. I don't know. Okay, so clearly we have this grumpy gentleman who is in some kind of a... so he is in some kind of a pawn shop. You can tell by the price tags on things. And he is selling a rope and grappling hook for $1. So he's using the US standard. And he is selling an enchanted golden glaive for $5. Now, I don't want to be one of those people who says that you shouldn't go into certain businesses based on, obviously everybody has gifts, everybody has talents, and everybody should pursue whatever profession they feel is best. But there's a point where you have to recognize that you do not have a talent for something. So, this guy clearly just does not understand, basic bartering and profit and loss and supply and demand, which is evidenced by the fact that this guy cannot even afford a shirt. Or a toupee. And that is why he is selling this clearly enchanted glaive at a ridiculously low price. This is a guy who, this is like the nicest, despite his hideous appearance, he's like the nicest shopkeeper in the world, but he wasn't blessed with a lot of intelligence. He's just one of those guys. It's like Mungo. He's like, Welcome to my shop. Can I offer you anything? And everybody loves him, but he just can't seem to make a profit, and he doesn't know why. Okay? He hasn't figured it out yet. He's not quite sure. And he's just kind of making things up. And he manages to stay in business by the fact that he just seems so, pathetic that nobody will take advantage of him, except for one rogue who clearly stole the shirt off his back. So nobody's quite cheating him. They'll throw a couple of, the fighter will walk in and it's like, would you like to buy this magic glaive? And the fighter will be, oh, sure, what are you asking for it? And then, well, 5 gold pieces seems fair. And then the fighter will be, yeah, 5 gold pieces is fair. You know what, though? It's such a nice shop. I'll give you 7. And then the fighter can walk out with a clear conscience after buying a 1,000 gold piece magical item for 7 gold. So again, this is really a sad, tragic figure here. I'm not sure what else is. All right, let's look at one more. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure what class this guy is. Again, you lean to just the default of magic is not coming out of him, and he is not heavily armored, therefore rogue, right? But he's armed with a sai, which is an interesting weapon choice to bring to your to the fireworks festival, because the sai was generally a parrying and trapping weapon. It was not an offensive weapon so much. It was more of a defensive weapon, like we had the main gouge or parrying daggers that you would use in your offhand while you used another weapon. So this gentleman knew that trouble was going to start at the fireworks festival, and he was prepared to defend himself. But that's about as far as he got in his whole plan. And then now he is clearly very distracted by the fireworks. This may be the first time he's seen fireworks. And in his distraction, he will not be ready for the attack that is clearly about to come from off camera right about here. Such a shame. So anyway, I really, really totally dig these cards. They are actually really cool. It's just kind of fun to see what stupid stories we can make up. But that said, also on their website, you can purchase, or this is buttonshygames.com. All one word, no spaces. And okay, when I say all one word, no spaces, I do not mean the website is buttonshygames, all one word, no spaces.com. Don't spell it out. It's buttonshygames.com. All one word, no spaces. Buttonshy Games. Okay. They also sell a couple of other sets of Storyteller cards for those not in a fantasy mind. And in addition, they also sell little books to go along with it, which I did not purchase, but they do sell these little books of to go along with their cards. And apparently, and I have not looked it over in any detail yet, but the fantasy one, which you can get as a free PDF if you don't want to buy a physical book, the fantasy one actually has some sort of a little role-playing game that you play with these cards, I guess using the dice and the combat actions and things like that. Actually, hold on a second. In case you can't interpret their art, apparently it does come with these little cards that tell you exactly what are on all of these cards. So we can see that, all right, well, let's see on this side. We've got what? We've got Ranger. We've got a Brute. It's hard to read these backwards. Okay, I was right. That elf shepherd is, but she's wielding a dowel? Is that right? Was that, I have to imagine that was the one with the sheep, right? So a dowel. I've never heard that used as a weapon, but then I don't know every weapon that exists, even though I pretend I do. And then you get another list of the heart cards and the diamond cards. So there was a list. And then in addition, and this is what actually really got me excited talking to the dude at Buttonshy, he threw in for me these ninja cards. Okay, so, and this fascinated me, and I'm going to take a minute to do the unheard of and compliment someone's business acumen, because these are really neat. Okay, so first of all, they do sell this micro party game, which is a deck of ninja cards, and I think it just finished its Kickstarter, if I remember correctly, and it's just about to hit the shop. And the basis of the game is about passing cards back and forth during a party, so it's played all night long. I don't know too many details about it. But in addition, they just have these you lose cards, because if you end up with the ninja, you lose. And apparently the full party game also includes a bunch of other cards that can, like, cancel the ninja or whatever. But the idea behind these cards, if you look closely, you can see you lose to find out, learn how to ninja at buttonshygames.com. Okay, and the idea is you take these cards, just these ninja cards, and you slip them surreptitiously to people. Like, you hide them in their bag or whatever so that they find this card at some point. And obviously I would, be careful, don't do this in a criminal way. They find out about this, like, it's great at a convention where, you just, like, drop it into someone's little loot bag or whatever, and then they find this card later and it's like, oh shit, I lost. What did I lose? And then you go to their website and you discover all these cool little micro games. Which, honestly, when I saw that, because the first, I went to their website and, like, the first thing I saw was underneath their header is this little thing that says, hey, did you lose at Ninja? Find out what the hell that's all about. And you click there, and then it explains to you that, somebody slipped you the Ninja card, you lost, and now what you should do is you just slip the Ninja card to someone else so that they lose. And then it's like the most brilliant form of physical viral marketing I have seen. It's fantastic because it turns their viral marketing into a game. I was actually really floored. So when the Buttonshy game guy that I was talking to on Twitter, I mentioned that I was going to buy a set of Storyteller cards right away because they look neat and I love having stuff like this just for funsies. And I asked him about the ninja thing because at that point it hadn't hit the shop yet, so I couldn't find out what was going on. And he explained the whole thing to me, and then he was like, I'll slip you some ninja cards. So, and now I realize that what happened is I lost at Ninja like 20 times. So the guy beat me at his own game, which, oh well. It's not the first or last time that I've been beaten by ninjas. Okay, ninjas are wily. But yeah, it's pretty neat all around, and that was what really made me look hard at the site, and then I discovered the Storyteller cards. But they've got a bunch of other neat little card games, all of which seem to like they can fit in your pocket, and they've got a couple of other game accessories, a couple other Storyteller cards. There's a monster deck, so I really suggest you check it out. Definitely, this is a stuff I don't hate. I don't hate the fantasy storyteller cards from Buttonshy Games, designed by Jason Tagmeyer and with art by Campbell White or Witt. I don't know because they didn't include a pronunciation guide. Oh, and neat. There's also a separate website for storytellercards.com. So I guess that's where you can share your stuff. So check them out. Check out the website. Check everything out. I don't hate them. And this has been an impromptu periscope of stuff I don't hate. If you enjoyed this, by the way, let me know on Twitter, and I will do more stuff I don't hate of just random shit that I find or that finds me, because this is kind of a fun way to do it. So to everybody else, good night, because I got to figure out how the hell to shut off the periscopes now. Whoops. Without swipe down to stop.